Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the second video in the series on this Renault 4 behind me. This is a 1991 Renault 4 Clan, and if you missed the first video I'll put a link to it up here in the in this little box. You'll be able to see that and see what I actually did buy when I bought it. Over the last couple of weeks I've been looking at all of the bits and pieces that needed doing from the back, the rear end of the front doors all the way forwards. So that's the front floor pan, front running gear, suspension, engine bay, wings and all of that. So as you'll be able to see, I've actually taken the wings off because I decided that I wanted to have a look under there to see how bad they were, and the tops of the inner wings are quite perforated on one side, so I cut all of those out and welded in some new sections. The floor pan, both sides towards the front, had some really bad holes, so I cut all of that metal out and welded in some new fresh metal and made the floor as good as it can be. I didn't actually weld in new floor pans. I decided to buy some 20 gauge mild steel, cut it and weld it as I needed it. I actually had my big MIG welder in the van behind me and I was welding on the car just behind me. Lance was just long enough to reach, so I managed to do all of the car without moving either the van or the car, so that was quite good. I actually decided not to film any of the welding because it's just too fiddly, too much of it, too many little bits and too many moments upside down when I'm trying to weld upside down. I couldn't really be bothered with the camera, but the net result is the front floor pan is now completely solid. All of the welding is done from the rear doors forwards, so that part of the work is finished. I just need to tidy it up now. I'll show you inside shortly and you'll be able to see one side of the floor pan and where that needs to be painted with some matte black paint. So today I've decided to try and fit the wings. Now I decided that what I would like to do is try and find out how to fit the wings. So I had a quick search on the internet and found a video on YouTube, but the only video I could find was actually the video that I made, and I'd forgotten I'd made it. So if you want to see me fitting the wing on a blue car, the link's up there. If you want to see me fitting the wing on the white car, well, I'm not going to show that. I'm just going to fit the wings and show you what they look like when they're done. So I've got the bonnet off the Renault 4 and I've moved it around here to the back of my little workshop. I'm just going to show you now the hinge plates, which I've had to break the bolts because they were just rusted through. So the bolts are broken off, and I'm just going to show you what they look like. I'm going to grind them out and hopefully weld in a couple of new bolts which I can then use to secure the bonnet onto the car. So let's have a look at those bolts now. So these are the bonnet hinges. This is a captive welded bolt. On the other side there's the broken stud. So I'm just going to see if I can grind that off, reveal the hole, put a new bolt in. There's a couple of spot welds here and here, and then grind it back so it fits. There's actually quite a lot of room. When this is closed up, there's almost enough room for an entire bolt head, so shouldn't need much grinding back. That fits in there, but it misses that part of the plate. I've cleaned under the wing under here. It's not too bad at all actually. The track rod end looks perfectly serviceable. Everything's as clean as it could be. Probably just need to scuff it up with a Scotch pad when I actually do the work on it. This is the inner wing. Nothing particularly wrong there. So yeah, I took all this side apart and had to repair the top. So I've welded a piece all the way along the top here and blended that in. A little bit of paint, brushing enamel on there. That's cellulose brushing enamel, Renault 348 white. Seems to go on okay. Looks perfectly fine, much better than it was. This was quite perforated up the top here, so I managed to save that, I think. One of the other things that I've done is this A panel here. I've painted this one in. This was done with a spray, so I sprayed that the same colour, 348 Renault white. Not a lot of repair needed here, just a little bit of welding in, a couple of little spots, but that's all all for this side really. So let's go and have a look at the other side. This is the side of the car that I've actually stripped down and rebuilt, so everything you can see in here has been apart and back together again. It's certainly much cleaner. Everything's in pretty good condition, nothing needed changing. So hopefully the other side will go the same. Just need to clean up the brake pipes through here. You can just see just a little bit crusty, but they'll be fine. These flexi hoses are fine. Ball joints are fine, shock absorbers okay. What you can see here are the two new bolts that I used to secure the battery tray. I took the battery tray off and refurbished that, so that's all good. So you can see that's over here. So in here is the refurbished battery tray, and this was the battery that was on it. It's charged up okay and it's still good enough to start it, so I'll keep that for now. I've spent quite a bit of time in here cleaning this. It's not perfect, but it's much better than it was, if you remember from the first video. Also the engine, you can see that it's had a replacement cylinder head at some point, but the side of the engine block is now nice and clean, so I can see what's going on in there. I can also see that I've got some water sitting in the plugs, so I need to deal with that before they start to go a bit rusty in there. Perhaps I'll do that a bit later. And here's the passenger side of the car with the wing removed. Both wings are in pretty good condition, just needed a little bit of cleaning up and a little bit of paint, so I've managed to do that, and I'm going to fit those, I think, hopefully today. These are the bumper irons which I took off when I took the old bumpers off. 2 or 3 of these were really quite bent, and I managed to straighten them all out, so they're all perfectly serviceable. These 2 are for the front and the other 4 are for the rear of the car. One of them was bent like a banana really, but I managed to straighten them all, and they're all pretty good. So I just need to fit those on and then just adjust them a little when I get the bumpers ready to go on. This is the cover from under the front of the gearbox. On my blue car I've got this painted orange, and I just thought I'd paint this one red because I had some spare red paint, so just cleaned it up and painted it red. So I'm going to try and fit that on a little later today as well. But first I think I'm going to try and fit the wings. That's really what they should look like. They should be about that much panel gap, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I'll lock all those bolts off now. Taking a look inside the car, this is where I've done most of the welding. This section here and the section just over there at the front of the passenger footwell. Just need to finish this side off with another coat of seam sealer, and then I'm going to paint the entire front floor with matte black paint. That should finish that section off completely, and I can put the flooring back in, so I'm quite pleased with that. I haven't shown any of the welding, as I've said before, but it was quite fiddly, and quite honestly it's a little bit of a pain in the arse, and it's not very interesting to watch. So yeah, that's the floor. I'll show you what else I've done under the bonnet and what else needs to be done under the bonnet. One of the things that I do need to do under here is look at this air cleaner. This just needs cleaning up and a coat of black paint, which I shall try and do today. I've actually got this new air filter cartridge. Now this is quite a find. This is a box made in France, new old stock. It's the right air filter for this this car. I also need to have a look under here at the choke, because the choke doesn't actually work. So I think there's something seized up in the carburetor here. So I'll probably have a look at that when I take off the air cleaner and see what I can find out in there. So that's the end of this video. I hope you like what I've been doing to the car. Perhaps you can leave me a comment, a like, or even consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.